sort of around about 320 kilometre pace, sometimes even a bit quicker, and to I think deliver that, get the hat on, get the goggles on without mistakes is absolutely brilliant. Once again, Jeanne Lehair is in the water first.
We are into the last swim, bike and run, and the gaps are nice and big now. A group of 5 at the front. We've got Jeanne Lehair, who races for Luxembourg, also used to race for France. Georgia Taylor-Brown of the UK, Rosa Tapia, Fanny Zalai and Miriam Casillas are your top 5. And then the Canadian and then American Rydner and Serino both racing for podium racing. The gap's just getting a little bit bigger each time. We might see another elimination as they come through at the back markers. But the race definitely on at the front. There's Tomei Kropko together. The 2 Stars and Stripes athletes down the steep ramp and into the water again.
Looking out for Emma Jeffcoat of Crown Racing.
She was on the bubble, wasn't she?
Yeah. It's the run that catches her out every time. Does nothing wrong on the bike or the swim, but just loses the time on the run. It's Lego who's through in 1:21. So
could be the elimination. Let's see if we see the split screen. It's not going to be far away. Oh, she's made it in. No, that's Lego. Sorry. Well, Magnani's going to be eliminated. And Jeffcoat too, by the sound of it. Anyway, we'll focus on the front of this race. They're going to make the turn at the first buoy very, very soon. There we go. There's the red flag. And it's Emma Jeffcoat who finishes in 14th position. And a smile, and it's a wry smile though. She won't be super happy with that. As they round the first buoy, and it's still Lehair in front. And then Taylor-Brown, and then Jeanne Lehair are your top 3.
John, you talked a lot about the team today. You've got 4 in the top 10 at the moment, and obviously a real contender for the win. You must be feeling pretty happy right now.
Yeah, it's great. Listen, you know, you come into these races and you have to have a plan, right? You got to look at the course, you got to look at your athletes, where their strengths are, and you got to have a plan going into it. But like everything else, you got to be willing to pivot. It's such a dynamic race. So if you look at Jeanne and Desiree, they worked really well together on the bike. And then we have Gina, who's kind of a wild card. She worked her way back up, right? And so that's not part of the plan, but these athletes have to react in real time to those conditions, and I'm really proud of what they're doing today.
Thanks, John.
He should be proud, and he should find himself at the top of the leaderboard if things continue the way they are. Podium racing are going to move from 3rd to 1st.
It's interesting, isn't it, with these managers, because of course Tim Dunn was the manager last year for Podium Racing, and there was a little bit of a kind of, you know.
No,
I think
John was very unhappy with Tim.
He wasn't. I didn't want to say it, but he was really disappointed. And so Brownlee Racing, well, Fanny Zalai is going to hopefully change the luck of the team today, sitting in 3rd position at the moment. But it is Jeanne Lehair that's leading the way, and at the moment I don't think you wouldn't put your money on her, because she's looking incredibly strong. I think most importantly on the run, because these guys, I'm pretty sure they're going to stay together right down to the run.
Yeah, I mean, but then, you know, if you're looking at those athletes, you're thinking, well, if John's got the run in her, what are we going to do on the bike that's going to help us negate that, or whether they've got anything left or whether it's going to hang on? We're just going to have to find out. We should mention Michelle Magnani, who was only drafted in on Wednesday and managed to avoid elimination until the start of the last swim. So an extremely strong effort from her to come in very, very late and be able to match it with these women up to this point.
Absolutely. I mean, she was a runner and then suddenly decided she quite liked the idea of triathlon and had her eye on LA 2028. So she's pretty new to the sport, as Jeanne Lehair now once again leads the swim out.
Lehair, Taylor-Brown, Zalai. That was actually the podium that you predicted this morning. I don't want to put the mockers on it for you or them, but you wrote it down and now you're pointing at it and you're like, yep, that's exactly right. So there you go, 1, 2, 3 at the top. 2 of them have got the short shoot too, Lehair and Zalai. Taylor-Brown's going to need to have a big, big bike. Rosa Tapia, we know she's got the run legs, and Miriam Casillas, well, she's just been trying to hang in at the moment. Let's see if she's got another gear to go up. Lehair comes out, Taylor-Brown comes out, Tapia, Zalai and Garcia. And It's a tick over 4 kilometres, 3 laps on the bike and 2 laps on the run, and Lehair's off the front again. She's been consistently transitioning better than anybody else.
Oh, she's smart, isn't she? She really is. I mean, get out of transition first, get on the road and see what you've got in your legs. Fanny Salai, though, in 5th place. Interesting listening to Parker Spencer, the manager from Stars and Stripes Racing as well, talking about the performance of Rosa Tapia as well, how smart she's been, really minimising the effort that she's putting in by always drafting off another athlete. It's been very smart racing from the Mexican athlete.
She could, I mean, if they all come in together, Tapia could find another gear in the run if she's been holding it back, because she does have a run. It's just a matter of making sure that she has, well, she hasn't been burning her matches up to this point, and that's exactly your point. So let's find out whether she does have that. I feel like Taylor Brown is on the bubble and has been for a little while. And the same with Miriam Casillas, but I'm not sure exactly where Fanny Salai sits at the moment either, because she's in rare air at the moment. She's going to have her best result ever in Supertri, no matter what happens, as long as she stays upright over the course of the next 3 laps.
Yeah, 7th is her best previously in Chicago and Neom for the younger 17-year-old from Hungary, racing for Brownlee Racing, drafted in, which has been a brilliant signing. It really has, because as you said, barring any mishaps, she's going to finish in the top 5, that's for sure. And she also has been pretty smart here as well. She's conserved her energy. She led that first swim out, and we can just have a look there on the right-hand side of our picture, and it is the Crown Racing athlete that's
Amy Legault, who came through on the first lap more than 90 seconds down. So it's not just out of transition that you can get eliminated on any lap. So she joins the other athletes, 3 from Brownlee Racing, 2 from Crown Racing, and a Stars and Stripes athlete. And there might still be more depending on how this plays out. We had enough time to tell everyone to slow down a little bit to come in there. We saw the hand signals come out. Everyone relax. Let's get through here in one piece, please.
These are tense moments. I'm just looking at all of these athletes here, these 5 athletes here. There's only 3 medals, as we know, and they're all starting to think, what's going to be my tactics now? And I say, looking at all of them, they're all decent runners, really, really good. I think, you know, Miriam may be perhaps a slightly weaker runner, but also the clock is ticking, 46 minutes on the clock. It's hot here, so who's got what left in the tank? Yeah,
I mean, you can't underestimate how hot it is with the heat coming up. It's about 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which I can't even tell you off the top of my head. It's probably 28 degrees Celsius, something like that. Plus there's the sunlight reflecting off every surface and all the concrete. So, I mean, as we're going, so why don't we get a check-in with Michael Gilliam, see whether he's happy or sad just at this exact moment in the race.
Michael, you've got your 2 women up there. Are there any team orders here, or is it just each for themselves?
There's still teamwork. I don't know about team orders, but definitely Georgia's in form. Her run's a little bit stronger than Miriam, so Miriam's having a great day. I'm looking for silver and bronze here. We've grabbed the silver and bronze. We confirm ourselves at the top of the table on the leaderboard for the teams. So that's the goal.
Thank you.
Silver and bronze is an interesting call. I suppose he's let it go when he thinks Jeanne Lehair's got the short shoot and she's had the run legs, and maybe he can just shore it up with the minor placings.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. I mean, he's sort of discounting other athletes there that I wouldn't, that's for sure.
Anyway, we'll see. I mean, obviously, that's the hope for Crown Racing, to stay on top, which is where they want to be.
So the transition now is going to be so important. They're on lap 2 of 3 laps. And I think it's not going to be won or lost, but it's going to be really crucial to deliver a really important transition, as Fanny Salai there just ducks under the branch.
Yeah, it just reminded me of having that guy running out on the course before. I hope he's still alive, or he's all right. And he's run off into the distance. Anyway, they head through the southernmost part of the course, which means they're heading back into what wind there is left at the moment. And it's Taylor Brown on the front. And Lehair just tracking her every move and thinking, do I have it in me to run away from Georgia Taylor Brown? And the other 3 are a little bit more of a mixed bag, not exactly sure what they've got left on the run, as I like Salai just sitting at the back. She's just, and if you're new to triathlon, new to watching this, you save a lot of energy if you're sitting at the back like Salai is there, compared to the athletes at the front who have to break the wind that's ahead of them. Probably 30, well, they say around 30%. If you're in a train like that. In fact, when you're in a train like that, the best place to be is second last, which is where Miriam Casillas is at the moment. She's allowed to freewheel a little bit, have a little bit of a rest. So it's about being smart and knowing that there is really no one behind you at the moment who can come and join this group. It's really going to come down to these 5 and who can run the fastest.
It really is a fascinating race that is unfolding. I did earlier on, I'm not going to gloat, but I did definitely say that I thought Fanny Salai had a really good chance of a podium. But
sounds like a gloat to me.
But the run is going to be so crucial here. The transition is going to be crucial. And what I have noticed throughout the course of this race here with Fanny Salai, she really does deliver some brilliant transitions. We can hear the bell now, and it's the last lap on the bike.
Yeah, well, touch wood, we haven't had a single penalty or any other issue like that that's caused any wrinkles in this race. And Tim Don will have had all of his eggs in the Fanny Salai basket. Let's see how he's feeling about this. He's got some pretty big names up against her.
Perhaps, so we don't know for sure.
Tim, Fanny's kind of sitting in, tucked in at the back on this bike ride. Is that a canny tactic, or do you think she's struggling a little bit with the heat here?
I don't think she's struggling with the heat. She's raced some really hot races this year. You've got to remember the women she's with are international world-class Olympians. So she's in new territory, and I think she's handling it really well. I would like to see her on this lap move a little bit to get that jumping transition. You know, Georgia's a very canny racer, as they say, and Jeanne Lehair, we saw in the first race, is running supremely. Jeanne has the short shoot and Fanny, so I think the race will be on that second lap of the run.
Thanks, Tim.
No, I think we'd all like to see the 17-year-old stand on the podium. I certainly would, but, you know, all of these women deserve to be there if, in fact, they can do the job. And Rosa Tapia, I mean, she's pretty fresh to Supertri, and yet she's the most experienced athlete in the Stars and Stripes team, so she's shouldering a fair bit of the responsibility, and she's doing it in such a good way. She's only 27, but she's still got vastly more experience than the rest of the athletes that are in that team.
Yeah, and in a very different place to what she was in Toronto as well, where she finished 13th. We heard her team manager from Stars and Stripes Racing, Parker Spencer, talking about the fact that she just didn't feel great ahead of that race. And we've looked at her outside of Supertri Racing, and we know what she's capable of, particularly on the run, as you were talking about, pulling back, you know, big deficits. And I think she's going to factor in this final run leg that is about to take place very soon. The athletes now starting to prep for that transition. In fact, Russa's already got her feet out of her bike shoes, or certainly the Velcros are undone already.
I can understand about not feeling great. I've got an Olympic distance race to do tomorrow, and I've had like 400 lollies. Well, some people are going to worry about that. So that sounds like a tomorrow morning problem for me. Right now, we've got the back end of this race, and it's Taylor Brown on the front, which is where you want to be coming into transition. Tomei and Michalichkova have been together for the last triathlon out of the 3 that we're racing here. And all of these positions are so important when it comes to the overall team. And because the points are the way they are, with 15 for first all the way down to 1 for 15th, first and second, the points difference is just as important when you're battling for 9th and 10th or anything like that. So all important, and off the bike they go. This time the Crown athletes managed to get through unscathed, unlike Morgan Pearson last time around. And the bikes all go in first. I'm not sure Tapia took the time to put hers in rear wheel first. Was no reason for that anymore. And now it's about the run. Casillas, and that's a pretty tardy for Taylor Brown and also Salai. So they're going to be up against it. And Lehair not so much, and she's the one with the short shoot. Taylor Brown really lost time there.
And so did Fanny Salai. It's just, you know, transition here is such a vital part, particularly of Supertri Racing, because a few seconds lost when they've only got a mile to run, 1,600 metres, very hard to pull back
it really
that
is.
kind of deficit. Let's have a look what Fanny Salai's got left in the tank. But Jeanne Lehair, she's done this every time. She really has stamped her mark straight out of transition in the 3 rounds that we've seen. But great to see Georgia Taylor Brown back up there. What's Rossa got left in the tack? For me, I thought she was going to be one of the quickest runners on this course, particularly in the heat. Well,
Lehair looks smooth and stoic. Taylor Brown as well, as she usually does. Miriam Casillas has got the same wonderfully quizzical look on her face, like she's wondering how she got here, as she has had the entire time as Salai moves past Tapia as well. So we'll head back down now to Adam as we get really into the pointy end of this race.
That's it.
John, it's these little details in Supertri that make all the difference. A tremendous transition from Jeanne, and then she just put on the afterburners to try and take advantage there.
Yeah, you're right. It is all about the details. I mean, if you watch that bike course, heading out, it's very windy. Jeanne is tactically moving to the front when it makes sense to on the way back, and then letting Georgia Taylor Brown take the brunt of the wind. That's how you do Supertri racing. That's how you make it to the end on the top step. Let's see where it lands.
Thanks, John.
That's true, but just as I say that, I feel like maybe we're starting to see the first signs of fatigue on Jeanne Lehair. She's moved to the other side in the sun, and the others have all decided to take the far left-hand line in the shade. But it's hard to tell how much that gap actually is. Could be 1 second, could be 3. I think they're reasonably close.
I think Jeanne's looking pretty relaxed. I think Georgia Taylor Brown is looking relaxed. Miriam had a great start out onto the run, but also looking fatigued. I mean, how can they not be at this stage of 54 minutes on the clock? The toughest racing that you will find in Supertri over short course. And,
well, the most experienced has come to the top now. There's a little gap back between the two crown athletes.
Wow, and Fanny's just dropped back into 6th place now. They're strung out down the road. Really important just to get a little bit of a draft, which is what GTB is getting off Jeanne Lehair. But Jeanne Lehair looks full of running at the moment for my liking.
Yeah, she does at the moment. She's not looking behind her either, although Taylor Brown just had a little look behind her just to see how far back everybody else was. And she's like, do I take the short shoot? And John Anthony says, yes, you 100% take the short shoot. So she's going to take it. She's going to force Taylor Brown around the long way, and that's going to really double her gap at this point. You can see her disappear into the distance, and Zelai's going to take it as well. And she does, and she moves up now into 3rd position. And she is not far behind Georgia Taylor Brown.
Oh, look at her go. Look at the managers as well. The emotion there is just brilliant, particularly when you see Tim Don. This means everything to him. It really does. Having raced at the highest level in his sport, having won 2 team events previously, and now not in the best position at the moment for Brownlee, but to have Fanny Salai, 17 years of age, in the bronze medal position, absolutely brilliant for Brownlee Racing.
Yeah, those splits you see on the left-hand side of your screen, that came before the short shoot. So Zelai's actually in 3rd position. As you can see, she looks behind now, though. So does Taylor Brown. Meanwhile, Jeanne Lehair has disappeared off into the distance. So everyone wants to back in Fanny Salai for one, and she's right up on the toes of Georgia Taylor Brown as well. Tappy has got some real serious run legs. Casillas Garcia has dropped off the back into 5th position. Jeanne Lehair looks like she could make it a podium sweep here in Chicago. Racing at home, podium racing, and these two behind, the most experienced and the youngest, are shoulder to shoulder just about, looking for a silver medal here in Chicago. Jeanne's about to make the turn at the far southern end of the course, and she's going to run back. She's going to see the gap, and she's going to know the short shoot, if it wasn't already put to bed, may have just put it to bed for Jeanne Lehair, who might pick up her 3rd win. In fact, she's in the box seat. I don't think Taylor Brown's got it. In fact, I think it could be even Zelai who might overtake. Taylor Brown looks to be hurting right now. And Rosa Tapia, I don't think, is going to make that gap back up.
I think that Rosa Tapia has gone at this stage, but anything can happen at this point in the race when the athletes are so fatigued. But Georgia Taylor Brown still looking composed. And I think for Fanny, the arms are swinging, the head is back, but she's just not settling for bronze.
Well, Taylor Brown finished 6th in Toronto. She's going to have a far better outing, but it's not going to be good enough to take on the Luxembourg athlete Jeanne Lehair. And after a win with Gonzalez Garcia and a 3rd place with John Reed, Podium Racing is going to go back-to-back and take a double win like Brownlee Racing did in Toronto. And again, Crown might take 2nd position as they did with Tyler Mislachuk, but not if Fanny Salai can overtake Georgia Taylor Brown in a straight-out sprint for the finish.
Is she going to be that bold, though? The Olympic medalist with the 17-year-old on her shoulder. What's she got left in her legs? I think it's Georgia Taylor Brown who's pulling away for silver now, though.
Jeanne Lehair, she's going to make the turn. She has dominated in this one by virtue of her run leg. Taylor Brown looks like she might hold off Salai, but a 3rd win in Supertri for Jeanne Lehair from Podium Racing. And Podium go back-to-back. She's got time for the high fives as she lifts the yellow tape. She's done it. Taylor Brown holds up, and Fanny Salai takes a podium for Brownlee Racing. first in the sport, one of the biggest moments. You can see what it means to a Rosa Tapia in her second race. Takes fourth, and Miriam Casillas waves to the crowd with one of her best results as well. 2 in the top 5 for Crown Racing.